What's going on, family? It's your boy, Crazy Faith the God, in the building. Getting ready to drop some quick value for you guys today. We're gonna dive straight into it. Hope you guys having a blessed and amazing Monday. A good day to be alive, right? So let's dive into it, right? What's today's topic? Today's topic is actually gonna be, you know, keep the adjustments to see the results that you want, right? We have to keep the adjustments to see the results that we want, right? What happens when we don't keep the adjustments, right? What happens when we do something, right? That's right on the right path, right? Such as staying committed to the goal, staying committed to the dream, right? Making those adjustments to stay committed, to stay aligned, right? What happens when we don't follow those adjustments, right? What happens, right? If we do not follow the adjustments that we're making to push forward, we go backwards, right? If we can't stay true to our word and what we wrote on paper, right? What tends to happen is that adjustment, right, that you made was benefiting you, but when you go against that adjustment, you go backwards, right? You go backwards, and then what happens is you regret it, right? You regret it. You have that turmoil. You have that conflict. You have that war with your spiritual battle, right? You have that spiritual warfare battle, right? Because what happens is, you're supposed to be making adjustments moving forward, right? And you have to stay committed to those adjustments, no matter how it feels, right? No matter how it feels, we can't let our flesh dictate our emotions. We can't let people, situations, and circumstances dictate our actions, emotions, and making bad decisions, right? We cannot allow that to happen, right? No matter how, whatever someone does to you, it shouldn't, that shouldn't allow you to make a decision that's going against what you wrote on paper. That shouldn't make, that shouldn't let you get off course on what you told God. That shouldn't change what you told God. It shouldn't. It should be you don't want to let what someone else did to you or any type of circumstance or problem that you go through dictate your actions. That's what I'm trying to say, right? We don't want to let nothing like that happen, right? Even Jesus was in the wilderness for 40 days, right? He was tempted by the devil for 40 days, right? And he he didn't let his flesh dictate his actions, right? He hit the devil with the scriptures, right? It is written, right? He hit the devil with the scriptures. And that's how he was able to defeat the enemy, right? So we can't allow the enemy, the devil, other people that's trying to pull us down dictate our actions and emotions and our choices, right? Because our choices is going to determine our results, right? And it can either be good or bad, right? And you don't want to spoil the adjustments by something someone else did to you or whatever you're going through, right? We still got to push through. We still got to keep the faith no matter how bad it hurts, no matter how bad it feels, right? Because it's gonna feel, you're gonna feel like garbage sometimes. Sometimes you're gonna feel you know, like sugar honey iced tea, right? You're gonna feel like that, right? And you gotta be able to push past that, right? You gotta be able to push past that, right? Because there's a real thing as a spiritual death, right? There's a real thing as a, that should be my next topic. There's a real thing as a spiritual death, right? If you guys are not aware of it, it's real, right? That's what sin. You like when they say when you play with sin, you really die. Like you don't literally die, but it's a spiritual death, right? And you got to be aware of this. This is powerful. When you die spiritually, your joy is being taken away, your happiness is being taken away, your power is being taken away. Like all of these things are being taken away by sin. Your peace, your joy, your happiness, your love, your kindness, your beautiful, healthy spirit is taken like, and that's all that's all essential, that's all powerful, that's all things that we need in order to push forward. That's essential to push forward, right? We need the joy, the peace, the happiness, right? The fruits of the spirit. We need that to push forward. If How are we gonna push forward if we don't have the joy, the peace, the happiness, right? How can we push forward, right? If we don't have that, it's just operating out of just the flesh, right? And we already know what the flesh gives us, right? The flesh gives us, misery, unsatisfied, right? Depletion, right? Drain. You become drained when you deal with the flesh. Like it's no life. The spirit gives life. The flesh counts for nothing. The spirit gives life. The flesh counts for nothing. So I say that because a lot of people are not aware of that spiritual death, right? A lot of people are not aware of that. When you die spiritually, it's just like mundane, right? It's a mundane feeling, right? It's an average feeling. You don't want to be average, right? You want to step out of your comfort zone. You want to step into the person God has created you to be, right? You want to step into the person that God has created you to be, right? The flesh counts for nothing, the spirit gives life. The flesh counts for nothing, the spirit gives life, right? And we got to be able to be open to be making these adjustments. We got to be open to making these adjustments to see the results that we want, right? We can't let life dictate our actions, right? We got to stay steadfast in our word and what we told God, right? No matter how it feels, no matter what you're going through, right? And when you push past the discomfort, growth is on the other side. When you push past the turmoil and the frustration and what your flesh is telling you, when you push past that, you begin to grow. I know it hurts, but that's the only way to grow. You have to endure. You have to get through it, right? And everything is making you stronger. If you wasn't to go through the trials and tribulations that you're going through right now, you would be soft. You would be super, super soft. So all the trials and tribulations that you've been through is actually forging the character that God needs you to be. Without that forge, without that transformation, you will be soft, and God can't even use you for what He needs you to use you for. And maybe that's why a lot of people, don't get to the dreams that they want to get to, because when the transformation hits, it's a different story. When that transformation hits and you got to go through it and you got to endure, that's a whole nother life right there. But on the other side of that, the fight is well worth it. The fight is well worth it, right? Being rich is hard, being broke is hard. You got to choose your heart, right? Anything great came with some sacrifices, came from letting go, came from enduring, came from pushing past the obstacle, right? And this is what it's going to take, right? So I'm gonna leave you guys with this, right? If you don't stick with the adjustments moving forward, including me, you go back to the old setting. You go back to the old version of who you are. If you don't push past if you don't keep those adjustments, you go back to the old version of who you were, and you know who that person is. No results. It's like that person, that old person, is not gonna get you the results that you want to step into the kingdom. And that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth right there, right? And we got to be open to the truth, right? Because when we're not open to the truth and we believe the lie, we get hurt. When we believe our own lie and do our own thing in our own will, we already know who's on the other side of that. We got the wisdom, right? We made mistakes in the past, but are you learning from them? We made mistakes in the past. I've made mistakes in the past, right? And I asked myself the question: Am I gonna learn from it, or am I gonna keep making the same mistakes, hurting myself, and not seeing who God created me to be? This is a powerful message, and it goes for me too. You know, it goes for me too, right? So I wanna just pray over you guys really quick. I ask that God could enlighten you, show you guys a better way to the transformation, and to give you the strength to endure, right? To get through the transformation and to become all that you've been created you to be, right? It's a beautiful version of the new version, but we have to stick with that. We have to stick with the new version, including myself, no matter how hard it gets, right? No matter how hard that gets, man, we got to stick to that new version of who, and it's always going to be someone, people, places, and circumstances that's just going to try to pull you back. And you just got to stay fast on what you said, your word. And you just got to let your flesh suffer. You got to, like, put your flesh under your feet and just endure it, right? You just got to endure that and just be okay with your word and your spirit, and love yourself and endure, love yourself, desire yourself more, and keep pushing forward, right? And just ignore the flesh, right? And outlast it, right? And speak to it. I'm going to outlast this, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, right? Nobody is stronger than God. So you can just put it underneath your feet, hit the devil with the scriptures. No weapons formed against me shall prosper, and keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. If you got to keep hitting him with the scriptures, hit him with it until he flees, right? So with that being said, it's your boy Crazy Faith the God on the way out. Hope you guys have a blessed and amazing Monday. Enjoy, nothing but love. Let's get it.